Hey guys, I hope you're having a fantastic week. Sit tight. I'm going to walk through a nice 100 pip trade on the pound yen that I took in the past 24 hours. So, first things first, where are we at on the chart? You can see we finally kind of broke up out of this little range here. You can see it's just kind of went sideways for a little bit, bounced off the top and the bottom, and then finally broke up yesterday. So I'm interested in, well, where is it potentially going to stop at and maybe retrace back? A lot of times you get these retracements back down to retest, so we're going to see just where that came in at. So high to low, we just got a nice 61.8 fib retracement right there. Just going to drag this over just a little bit so you can see where we are sitting at. Alright, so take that 50% off to keep it nice and clean. Got a nice little area, don't like that one. Got a nice little area right there, 61.8, lining up nicely with some support and resistance. Yeah, I mean, you can scroll back, pick whatever spot you want. Personally, I like to kind of zone it off. Alright, now remember, some people probably sold right on that 61.8 and said, okay, you know, they got the resistance right there. But remember what support and resistance is. Very rarely are you going to get that exact pinpoint precise touch. All right, think of it as a trampoline. Okay, when you're jumping on a trampoline, what happens? Do you just smack the mat, snap your ankles, and then bounce back up? No. You know, that mat gives, it's flexible. All right, it depresses a little bit as you come down and land on the mat. It depresses until eventually the physics, the forces of gravity versus the earth, and you know, all that stuff. I don't remember the exact physics, but the force pushing up against you and the force pushing down against you is equal, and for that split second you are depressed or just stationary for that split nanosecond or whatever, and then you start bouncing back up. Support and resistance acts as the same way. All right, it's a zone, it's just a trampoline mat. So as we push up into this zone, the momentum carries us up until finally we peak out and then pop back down. And then you can see we were never ever able to get back above, not really even any wicks above that 61.8. All right, and then from the downside here, coming up out of this area, we see a nice little ABCD pattern or kind of measured move, you know, that comes right down between the 50 and 61.8 fib retracements and puts in a nice profit target for us that sits pretty much on top of that 61.8 fib retracement. All right, so pay attention to those profit targets. Those are pretty powerful sometimes as well. All right, align that all up with the different other technical tools and you have some powerful confluence in your favor. All right, so where did I take this? I missed the initial entry. I wasn't at my charts when it popped up there. That happened, you know, around, I don't know if this is, I believe this is Eastern time. Yeah, this is New York time, so this happened around midnight. I was sleeping. I was not awake between, I was awake at 4 a.m., but, you know, I didn't take it here. I missed it. All right, it had already peaked out and popped down. I wasn't awake. So I dropped down a time frame. I said, okay, what's going on? My level's filled. Where can I potentially get in? Where's a good place for my stop loss? All right. Once we broke back below and were never able to get back above that 61.8, you know, I went ahead and looked for an entry. All right. I ended up entering somewhere right around on one of these retracements back up. I want to say it was right here. It was yesterday afternoon. I want to say it may have been on this yesterday evening. It was somewhere right around in here because my entry was, if you fib this, you got a 78.6 that we tapped. Let me bring that in. So that tagged the 78.6 pretty perfectly. And then I got in on, I want to say, the 61.8 area on a retrace back up there. Alright, so let me delete some of these other fibs so there's not so many lines. So lower time frame, you can see we were kind of squeezing a little bit. So my bias was to the downside. I knew where I wanted to get in, so I shorted right around 81, I believe. I'll have to go back and double check, but it was right around where that 61.8 fib retracement was. Stop wise, typically right around 40 pips. That actually put me right above the high, so I was comfortable with that. And then target, I took this off at 145.80. Actually, I carried it down with the momentum. 88 is where I took this off, not that. Oops, right here, 145.80. 88 is where I took that in. Took that too. And that was kind of based off of momentum, pushed through and carried through, you know, this trend line. And then there's also, you can make a case for this as well, which this held pretty precisely. If I can lock onto it. All right, this trend line here. Okay, so maybe this was the true resistance. Who knows? The thing about trend lines you have to remember is there's going to be people who draw trend lines like this. There's going to be people who draw trend lines like that. I mean, so it really varies. The other reason why I took it a little bit lower was because of this main trend line here. If we go from our high to that breakout point, I was anticipating a retest as well. So as we were coming down into that area, that's where I went short. Okay, not short. That's where I took profit. So nice. This was just about 100 pips, a little bit lower. I did see 100 pips, but by the time I got out, it was a little bit less than 100 pips. So 93 pips on this. Nice, almost 3-to-1 risk to reward. I mean, you can see I could have put my stop loss just above that, just 15 pips or so, 20 pips even, and would have been just fine. But that's kind of like my normal stop loss for GJ is 40 pips, so that's what I did, and that's the trade. So I hope this helps. It kind of has some decisions to make. Obviously, we have this trend line broke here, but overall, we'll see. We could really shoot up here. Maybe we are doing some type of range structure here where we are just going to be bouncing back and forth until we make an overall decision, or maybe you can make a case for this being a double top, and that's maybe a lower high, gonna be a lower high, and then maybe it's gonna drop down. Who knows? It's just kind of a wait and see game for me right now on GJ. There's a lot of Brexit news and a lot of crazy announcements that are just kind of throwing this thing for a whipsaw. It doesn't really know what it wants to do. Flash crashes here and there. A lot of volatility in the markets these days. So, but I hope this trade recap helped. And take care. Have a fantastic rest of your week. Be careful tomorrow. It's NFP day, so there's going to be some big volatility, especially for dollar pairs, and maybe even these cross pairs like GJ. They're all affected one way or another. So take care. Be safe. Have a great and fantastic weekend.